Polyjuice brothels. Bring a hair from anyone you want, and a prostitute uses polyjuice potion to transform into them. What are some crazy NSFW things that definitely happened in the Harry Potter universe, but J.K. Rowling couldn't write because they were kids' books? Hey, thanks for coming to another one of my Storytimes viewer. I'm Andre, your narrator. Since you're here, you should smash the like button, subscribe, and ring that notification bell. Because if you don't, I'll tell the CDC that you have the C-vid. No more lollygagging, let's get into the video. I imagine selling one's sexual memories to be experienced in a pensive would become an underground market. Gilderoy Lockhart had hundreds of adoring female fans, was an expert at memory charms, and chose to work in a school. Harry had an invisibility cloak. He definitely used it to see Ginny take a shower or change. We saw that boys couldn't enter the girls' dorms in one of the books. Most likely the girls' bathroom were similarly charmed to prevent male entry. When I first read Half-Blood Prince, I had no idea snogging meant making out. I thought it meant ducking, and I was wondering why Hogwarts had turned into a sex cauldron all of a sudden. J.K. Rowling did write about a character who practiced inappropriate charms on a goat. At a Q&A session, an 8-year-old child asked her what this meant, and she told them, "I think that he was trying to make a goat that was easy to keep clean." And that it was going to be her only answer to the child. That all the students were actively doing each other constantly, because, high school. Mixed sex boarding school with magic love potions? No brainer. I'm surprised none of the newspapers in the Potter universe ever talk about the likely epidemic teenage fertility crisis at Hogwarts. Now that I think about it, they were probably using this spell. Fetus deletus. In a deleted scene for Goblet of Fire, Harry wanders off after the Yule Ball, and it briefly shows students inside a carriage doing some smuggles things. In the book, while Ron and Harry are sneaking around after the ball, wasn't it described there were couples hiding in the bushes? Harry thought one the couples, Fleur and a Roger Davies, looked very busy to him. I'm guessing kids would take that as making out, but… Polyjuice parties where everyone mixes a personal batch of polyjuice and passes them around till you don't know whose you have. Everyone goes and hides, come back, then you duck each other all night long until the potion wears off, and everyone gets to laugh at who ducked crab. You know those kinds were having sex, they're teenagers. Hell, in the Marauders map credits for Prisoner of Azkaban, you can see a pair of feet between another pair of feet in a tiny closet, you know that was two people ducking. Edit. Also, Voldemort and Bellatrix Lestrange had sex. Edit 2. For those asking about my source for Bellamert, just puked in my mouth a little typing that, I would tell you, but apparently y'all are supposed to find out on your own. Tonks, 100% the result of a teen pregnancy and the cause of a subsequent shotgun wedding. In fact, thanks to a math error on Rowling's part, Andromeda and Ted must have still been students at Hogwarts when she was conceived, but this is never directly acknowledged in the books. Didn't the main villain's mom use date rape magic on his dad? I'm pretty sure that actually was written in the books, just not that explicitly. Short of actually using the words date rape, it was pretty explicitly stated. Merripp convinced Tom Sr. to take a drink of water on a hot day, which she had spiked with potion. She continued to give him the potion until she got pregnant, and considering he left the minute he wasn't under her influence, it was really obvious he had been tricked into staying against his will. Snape stares shamefully at the lock of hair in his hand, then back at the mirror. Just this one time he mutters to himself as he flicks the last remnants of Lily Potter into the polyjuice potion. I was a master potion maker. I could have made her love me anytime I wanted. I could have taken her from that stupid James Potter. But I didn't. And do you know why? Because I'm a nice guy. I don't understand why girls like her always want to go after jerks like James. I was there for her all those years. Even after she was dead, I didn't join up with the cult of neo-Nazis with a snake fetish that tried to kill her son. Because I'm a nice guy. I will always love you, Lily. Snape tips Fedora. Paintings visiting each other's paintings for Nookie. I wonder how much it takes to make a picture that moves. Because if it's not much, then Fred and George were for sure selling amateur playboys that they drew themselves or got an artist friend to draw. A wand can light up, can it also vibrate? I think they go into that topic with the photography kid. You need to use some kind of special potion when developing pictures to make them move. That's for photographs, paintings are different. Also, magic photographs only move and loop the same image, they're literally just GIFs. Magic paintings, on the other hand, can talk and move from frame to frame and are basically sentient. Also, on that note, if Voldemort really wanted immortality, he should have just commissioned 5,000 portraits of himself. Peter Pettigrew must have seen Ron masturbate when he was a rat. I have thought that his brothers had that map and never questioned the fact that Ron was always sleeping with a dead man. I seem to recall them saying in the book that they didn't actually need the map much anymore, which is why they were giving it to Harry. They'd spent enough time at Hogwarts to memorize all the secret passageways. It's possible they stopped using the map regularly before Ron got to Hogwarts. At the very least, they weren't using it frequently enough to ever by chance take a look at what Ron's doing. Edit. This, Harry, is the secret of our success, said George, patting the parchment fondly. It's a wrench, giving it to you, said Fred, but we decided last night your need's greater than ours. Anyway, we know it by heart, said George. We bequeath it to you. We don't really need it anymore. Magical sex toys are out there and thriving, and you know it. Voodoo dildo is a safety warning that escaped into the Muggle world. Voodoo dildo my ass. For those who don't know, this is a reference to a dirty joke. Here's one of the many versions on our jokes. A businessman is getting ready to go on a long business trip across the country. He knows his wife is always getting horny, so he decides to get her something to keep her occupied while he was gone, because he didn't much like the idea of her having sex with someone else. So he went to a store that sold sex toys and started looking around. He thought about a life-sized sex doll, but that was too close to another man for him. He was browsing through the dildos, looking for something special to please his wife, and started talking to the old man behind the counter. He explained his situation to the old man. Well, I don't really know of anything that will do the trick. We have vibrating dildos, special attachments, and so on, but I don't know of anything that will keep her occupied for so many weeks, except said the old man, and then he stopped. Except what? Asked the businessman. Nothing, it's nothing, said the old man. Please, tell me. I need something, protested the businessman. Well, sir, I don't usually mention this, but there is the voodoo dildo, the old man said. The voodoo dildo? The businessman asked. The old man reached under the counter and pulled out a beautifully ornate old wooden box carved with strange symbols. He opened it, and there lay a very ordinary-looking dildo. The businessman laughed and said, "Big ducking deal. It looks like any other dildo in this shop." The old man said, "But you haven't seen what it'll do yet." He pointed to a door and said, "Voodoo dildo, the door." The voodoo dildo rose out of its box, darted over to the door, and started screwing the keyhole. The whole door shook with the vibrations, and a crack developed down the middle. Before the door could split, the old man said, "Voodoo dildo, box." The voodoo dildo stopped, floated back to the box and lay there, motionless. The businessman said, "I'll take it." The guy took it home to his wife, told her it was a special dildo, and that to use it, all she had to do was say, "Voodoo dildo, my pussy." He left for his trip satisfied things would be fine while he was gone. After he'd been gone a few days, the wife was unbearably horny. She thought of several people who would willingly satisfy her, but then she remembered the voodoo dildo. She lay down, placed the box between her legs, and said, "Voodoo dildo, my pussy." The voodoo dildo shot to her crotch and started pumping. It was great, like nothing she'd ever experienced before. After 4 orgasms, she decided she'd had enough and tried to pull it out, but it was stuck in her, still thrusting. She tried and tried to get it out, but nothing worked. Her husband had forgotten to tell her how to shut it off. So she decided to go to the hospital to see if they could help. She put her clothes on, got in the car and started to drive to the hospital, quivering with every thrust of the dildo. On the way, another orgasm nearly made her swerve off the road, and she was pulled over by a policeman. He asked for her license and then asked how much she'd had to drink. Gasping and twitching, she hastily cried, "The voodoo dildo. Stuck in my pussy, can't get it out, ah." Need dot dot to dot dot get dot dot it dot out, help me. The officer looked at her incredulously for a second and then said, yeah, right. Voodoo dildo, my ass. Thanks for watching. What did you think of the story time? Let me know in the comments below. If you liked the video, smash that like button and subscribe so you don't miss any more story times.